You are listening to Loud on the Set with Kyle and James.
A level-headed movie critic meets a loudmouth movie cynic. And action!
All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Kyle.
This is James.
And today, James, what are we doing?
Real genius.
Oh, yes.
See me smiling, Kyle?
Throwback Thursday.
1985.
Woo! Val Kilmer.
His finest role.
Definitely.
He peaked in 1985.
We'll
Forget
have to
Casino
discuss
or
that.
Tombstone or that stuff. Real genius for me is
That's the pinnacle.
the alpha and omega of his career.
All right. Well, joining us today for our Real Genius discussion, we have a guest. Lynne is joining us.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Lynne. Welcome.
All right, Lynne. Why the hell should we listen to you? Tell us a little bit. Who is Lynne? When is Lynne? How is Lynne?
You know, I'm going to go with the win is Lynn because I think that's why you should listen to me. And the win is that this movie was made when I was born. So
There it is.
that's why you should listen to me because I am a child of 1985.
All right.
Oh, very good.
So there's an Inception-based merging of you and this film from birth.
But you've seen it recently, right?
Yeah, the first time I saw it actually was a couple months ago. So
Excellent. See,
Nice.
I was raised with this movie. Lynn saw it recently on a recommendation from, shout out to Leah, right?
shout out to Leah. Yeah.
And Kyle has been exposed to it recently as well.
Indeed.
Real genius. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. So, first of all, we'll talk about our first impressions with the film. You were recommended this movie.
Yes.
And movie recommendations can be hit or miss, depending on who they come from. But what did you think? What was your overall impression when you walked away from it?
My overall impression was it was awesomely bad. Like super. No, and I mean that in a good way. Like no. You know, like exactly what you would expect out of a movie from the 80s. You know, like it was awesome. It had a crazy plot. The characters were really well developed, and there's a little bit of overacting, but overall, I thought it was awesomely bad.
Yeah. So I was wondering when I was watching it, and maybe James, you can shed some light on this too. Was the overacting, is that emphasis that comes with movies like this, is that played up on purpose, or is that just from the time period? Is that how they were doing it to try and actually capture whatever they thought was the essence?
I'm going to go with the latter. It is a product of its time. It is 80s all the way. Everything from its pacing to its really frantic introduction of character after character after character, and you get a feel for who they are right away each time, right? And of course, montage music, baby. Like it is 80s all the way. There's really fast, snappy, witty dialogue. There's montages to cover ground and to make up for like lack of time, and it's paced well but quickly, and it's wrapped. And here's another way that it's very 80s, and I think you'll agree with me on this one. It wraps up in such a satisfying way, an absurd. Yet satisfying way. Like every loose end is tied up. They just start jamming people in at the end, and there's kind of like a sort of pseudo happy group hug at the end, like that kind of moment. Everything falls into place perfectly, almost like it's an 80s sitcom, right? Remember how sitcoms used to do that too?
Yeah.
Like just jam in everything at the end and be like, 22 minutes, problem solved.
Did it end on a freeze frame? I can't remember.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, it ended on it technically no. But it ended with another slow-mo musical sort of outro.
Okay.
The final scene is the Professor Hathaway coming back to his house. It's sunset, and his house is bursting with popcorn, right? And he's totally depressed. He's probably going to go to jail at some point, right? Oh, whoops, spoiler alert. He's a total dickhead.
For a 1985 movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the dog that annoyed him the whole movie comes up, and it fades to black on that. But before that, everybody's celebrating the popcorn, throwing it in the air, slow motion to the song. Nobody?
No. You've seen it a million times. You tell us the song.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes. I do remember
This movie has a killer soundtrack,
It
too.
really does, actually.
All right, I'm done. I'm done for now.
So, Lynne, as a child of the 80s, did you enjoy other 80s films like this?
I did, but you know, I don't remember a whole lot of them. A lot of them I've been revisiting lately, just after seeing this one. But yeah, and what's your favorite
good.
80s movie?
Oh, man. My favorite 80s movie, The Burbs.
The Burbs.
Tom Hanks in The Burbs.
We have to give you a retro review of that movie
Yes.
at some point.
If you haven't seen The Burbs...
I don't think I've seen The Burbs.
It's about Tom Hanks in a suburban cul-de-sac somewhere with potentially murderous neighbors.
Nice.
And it's wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is one of my favorite actors.
Oh,
So.
and it's when he's, of course, very young.
Yeah.
And yeah, you would love it.
Awesome.
That's another recommendation
Hey,
coming at you right now. The Real Genius worked so well, so let's do that one
The
too.
Burbs. We'll do it.
All right, James, for anybody who hasn't seen this movie since 1985, give us a quick plot synopsis of what we're talking about here with Real Genius.
Here we go. Feel free to jump in at any point, either
yeah.
one of you, but here we go. A young Mitch Taylor at 15 years old. Wait, let me back up actually.
Okay.
The CIA is working in cahoots or in cahoons. Shout out to the honey baby who puts an N in the word cahoots. Cahoons, I swear to God, it's so funny. But anyway, the CIA is working with some universities to develop a super weapon, a laser weapon, right? And it's dark, smoke-filled rooms, and it's all very, very secretive, right? Okay, now let's jump to the actual storyline. Young Mitch Taylor, 15 years old. He's a prodigy. He's a genius. And he's been recruited to go to Pacific Tech. And I'm doing air quotes now because it's like Caltech, right?
AKA Caltech.
Yeah, Caltech.
And it was based off of Caltech, loosely,
Yeah.
from my understanding.
The dormitories and everything.
Yeah.
And he gets recruited by Jerry Hathaway, Dr. Jerry Hathaway, to work on his special project. Little does Mitch know that he's going to be paired up with Chris Knight. Who's Chris Knight, Lynn?
Val Kilmer!
Yeah. Who was the university's sort of last and most famous prodigy. And they're going to collaborate on this project. And when they get there, Mitch is surprised to see that Chris Knight is not who he appears to be. How is Chris Knight Val Kilmer in the movie, Lynn?
How is he? Well, he's not typically what you would think of as like the smart genius nerd, right? He's kind of sloppy. He's kind of a slob. He's kind of all over the place. Not really focused. Great character.
A womanizer.
Totally. Womanizer. Absolutely.
Eccentric.
Yeah.
Sexist as all hell.
Oh, yes.
Right? We'll talk about that later.
There were some very dated moments in this film.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
I love it. It's the best. All right, they work together. Mitch, of course, is aghast at the actual conditions of the university. He's busting his ass. People around him don't appear to have the same work ethic. Jerry Hathaway's pushing him. Mitch is feeling the pressure. And there we go, right? They work on the project, and eventually they come to some revelations. And we'll get into it, right?
And eventually, the house explodes with popcorn.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta know, really. This leads to a house exploding with popcorn.
But along the way, we meet some excellent characters who, again, are also vintage 80s, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You have, like, the prime prick douchebag that is Jerry Hathaway, who, by the way, is the EPA guy from Ghostbusters, right?
Is he really?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The same guy?
The actor's
Oh, my
name
God.
is, let me
That's
check my
good.
notes here, but it's William Atherton, in case everybody wants to actually recognize
James
his,
has 7 pages of notes for this film, by the way.
It's actually
This
8, but whatever.
This is impressive.
But you meet some characters along the way. I can't wait to talk about the characters. Kent, Jordan, Dr. Hathaway, the CIA guys, the CIA guy's daughter, right? Remember that? What happens to them? Oh, my God. All right, go ahead. Somebody else take it.
Movies like this, of course, always, especially from this time period, it seems like the story is just there to get you from point A to point B, being
Yes.
the beginning to the end of the film. And really in between, they just want to play out these funny fantasies and like crazy moments and stuff. So I want to know what everybody's favorite moments from the movie were, favorite scenes or anything. Did you have any favorite ones? Or favorite characters or
Oh,
anything?
Laszlo, come on, right?
Laszlo?
Yes, you
Laszlo's
forgot
the
the
best.
best character.
Wow,
Dude,
he's your favorite
in all
character?
those pages of notes, you didn't come on.
So
Yeah.
why was
No, I have
Laszlo
Laszlo quotes here,
You
trust
got
me.
okay. Why
Yeah.
was Laszlo your favorite?
Well, I think, my favorite moment, I think, was when Mitch finally went into the closet and found out what was
Yes.
behind the closet doors. Like, the whole contraption to get down to Laszlo's little basement dungeon area. That was amazing. It was so awesome.
Yes, that was pretty awesome. What's your favorite Laszlo quote?
My favorite
James?
Laszlo quote, give me a second to find it, but it's when he actually speaks.
Yes.
When he actually speaks. They've already discovered Mitch has already discovered the tunnel, and he's got the stacks of those yellow cards in his
Yeah.
in his arms, right? And he freezes in front of Chris and Mitch studying, and Chris goes, Laszlo. He's like nervous, and they talk a little bit about the upcoming tests and how he's gotten all the questions from Dr. Hathaway's tests from the past 10 years, and and they ask, what are those? Oh, these are entries into the Frito-Lay sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Enter as many times as you want, so I am. How many times have you entered? Well, this batch will make 1,650,000. Right? Because he has a device that's like cranking out. So he told her, I should win 33.8% of the prizes, including the car. All this ringing a bell, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it great?
It is great, especially because that moment was apparently based on an actual thing that happened with students
Was it
at
really?
Caltech.
No
yeah,
way.
they entered the Frito-Lay contest, and they put in so many submissions that they totaled, I believe it was 1/5 of all the total entries into it, and they ended up, of course, statistically having a really good chance to win, and they did. They won the car, they won the money, they won like food
That's awesome.
certificates and stuff. Yeah. So shout out to 70s Caltech folks, whoever those were. Pretty genius idea there. That was wonderful.
Excellent. All right, Kyle, what about you? What's your favorite character?
I mean, my favorite character is obviously anytime Val Kilmer is just on the screen nearly screaming Shakespearean-esque quotations at everybody like he's at the Globe Theater. You know, everything he said was like with such gusto and fervor, and I can't remember all the litany of quotes, but one he had was about Socrates, and he was like, recounting, do you remember the quote I'm talking about?
Yep, he says, I drank what? Yeah. Instead of something deep, just like
it's like, and we reflect on our past, like the great Socrates after he drank and remembered, I drank what? You know, like all of his quotes like that were so brilliant. But I mean, he's the main reason to watch the film.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's such a scene stealer.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And another thing about this, and it's also very 80s, is no scenes are wasted. Something is happening, whether funny or kind of over the top, dramatic and overacted, but every scene draws your attention to something worth your attention. I think there's nothing wasted, no wasted dialogue, really, no wasted anything. And when they can't fill it with dialogue and wittiness and snappiness, they fill it with music.
Oh, the montage is the best.
Montage. We'll talk about the montages. Here's my favorite moment in the movie. My absolute favorite, because I have tons of them. But
I like the liquid nitrogen coins too.
Oh yeah.
Everything like
that was
let's
pretty
talk
cool.
about first of all.
I don't know how that would ever work in real life, but that's pretty
it's
cool.
Slugs. You never use slugs?
I have you know what? I have not used them, but I have slugs from my magic career. I have some fake coins that I've used in that respect. Yeah,
all sorts of tricks like that, I can tell you. Well, nowadays everything being digital and electronic, it's not working.
Right.
The world's becoming less fun by the fucking thing. Fucking security state. All right.
Just more challenging.
That's true. More challenging to have the fun.
Well, you got to be like a fucking anonymous level hacker to have fun
Like
nowadays.
a real genius?
Oh, there it is.
All right, I respect Laszlo, but I am going with Chris Knight as my favorite character in the movie.
Okay, of course.
And here's a moment that's just brilliant. And I love all of his one-liners. I love his facial expressions. I love the liquid nitrogen. I love how he's playing with coins instead of paying attention to people. You catch that moment? He's like...
Oh, yeah.
All right, but he goes over to Jerry's house late one night, and he wants to talk to Jerry, Dr. Hathaway, right? He rings the doorbell, and instead of Jerry Hathaway answering the door, does anybody remember who answers? That hot little blonde, the CIA's guy's daughter.
Ah, yes.
And Chris Knight is taken back like, hi, and she's, hi, and he just goes, well, walks right past her, right? Walks in the house, and then here's the following exchange, ready? Chris Knight, listen, Jerry asked me to drop by. What did he ask you to do? And the girl goes, what? And Chris Knight goes, which word didn't you understand? And it's so brilliant.
Oh my God.
For the longest time in my life, I tried using that on people. Whenever somebody says what to you, Kyle and Lynne, throw that one right back in their face. Like, well, which word in that sequence didn't you understand? Like, try to hone in on the exact moment that they didn't. It's so brilliant. Like, it's so clever. Everything's clever.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is very clever.
All right.
So I have a question, because as I was watching this movie, one of the things that was hard for me to get over was the fact that Chris Knight was all over my campus when I was going to college. And I knew people just like him, and they drove me fucking insane. I could not stand, like, just the people with such, like, natural talent, and then just, like, finally realizing it and realizing their influence that they had, and just being, like, such dicks about
Not
it.
really having to do anything.
Yes.
To try. Yeah.
Yes. Did you know any of the people that were in this film? Any people like that when you went to school?
Well, what do you think, Lynn? You got any... Any people like this, you know?
I knew some people like that in high school where they really weren't doing anything and just getting by totally nicely. And yeah, I was super jealous of that because that was not me at all.
Not me
I
either.
was busting my butt.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. I feel like I might have been a little bit like the Chris Knight guy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, really?
But but not in a sort of laid back California, you know, wearing shorts and weird clothes all over the place, like eccentric, but definitely like cocky and arrogant, you know.
Yeah.
Like when everybody was killing themselves and staying up all night study, I had a rule like, nope, I don't study past a certain hour, and whatever point I'm at, I just stop, and then I'll just totally blow the curve for everybody.
What about sweater tied around the neck?
Kent?
Kent, man.
Woo, Kent! What a character!
Did you know any Kents in your lifetime?
Oh, yeah. I think there's plenty of kids out there. Aren't there? Right?
There definitely are.
Kent is such a classic character.
Kent is a good
everything about him
character.
is like his fucking hairstyle,
The
right?
glasses, the braces,
glasses,
they
the
come in handy
braces.
later.
The-
right? Right?
The what?
The braces, how they come in handy.
Yep, they use his whole head as a tool.
Classic.
I also love the fact about Kent that you see him the whole movie wearing the turtlenecks, right? But then later on in the movie when he thinks he's schizophrenic and he's researching like schizophrenia because he's hearing the voices, right?
That was a good.
He starts unbuttoning his shirts and you see that it's a mock turtleneck. It's not a full turtleneck.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He had like
It's like a little bib.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like a clip-on tie, right?
Yes.
I remember being a
Oh
little kid
my
and watching that
God.
and be like, what a fucking nerd, right?
And those are
Who
real.
wears that shit?
Those must be real. So
Oh, you think people actually wore those in the 80s?
I
Did
don't
you wear those in
know.
the 80s, James?
No, but I love
somebody
the fact that
must
he
have,
did.
right?
Oh, and Kent is like, it goes from God to Jerry to me. Got it? And then Jerry walks in. Hello, Jerry. Kent, I thought I told you never use my first name. Did I? Right?
Douchebag.
And then he's always sent to run to the dry cleaners, right? And after that, I need you to pick up my dry cleaners. Don't worry about it. I love it. You know, like, oh, he's such a jerk.
Do you think that Val Kilmer's character detracts or adds to the lead character's role in the movie?
What a great question. Lynn, take it.
Wait, can you say that again?
So I don't remember the name of the what's the
Mitch Taylor.
Mitch Taylor. Mitch is
Oh,
like the
got it.
15-year-old. And it's
Right,
really
right,
like his
right.
journey of
Yeah.
self-discovery and everything through the college scene. And as I was watching, of course, Val Kilmer's performance is in your face the whole time.
Yep.
Does it matter that that's happening? Does it detract from the film at all?
I don't think it detracts from Mitch's character at all. I mean, they're so different that it emphasizes the differences between the two, and the fact that they end up getting along so well is super cool. So no, I
Yeah.
think it actually adds to his character.
Good. I like
I
that.
appreciate your point, but I'm gonna side with Lynn. There is a symmetry. Chris Knight, the character that is Chris Knight, is so dominating, but both characters come up against an obstacle, and the other one helps them. So there's symmetry in their storylines, right? Mitch goes through it first. Mitch gets humiliated. Mom, I want to deal with you. You rented out my room, Mom, to who? And then they rented it out to the plumber. Why can't he share it? Right? I tell you, I got this movie, Kyle. It's
You do.
Lynn, it is
So
up here.
impressed.
All right, so Mitch hits his bottom. He hits his low point, right? And Chris brings him back. It's a moral imperative. You must get even with Kent. It's a moral imperative. And then Chris hits rock bottom when Dr. Hathaway
Oh, he threatens to fail him,
threatens
right?
to fail him.
Yeah.
He doesn't threaten him. He says, "You're out. Now get out.
Right, right.
And I'll make sure you never work in this field again."
Yeah.
You unbelievable asshole. Count on it. Real genius by James. Anyway.
Could have written it.
And then who brings him back from that ledge, if you will?
Mitch.
So there you go.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting when I was
Kyle, it's
looking
like you and I, you know?
with yeah.
You're Chris
Oh, that's
Knight
so
and I'm Mitch.
sweet.
No. That must be opposite. I'm flattered, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking this up afterwards, and it was interesting to me that the film was directed by a lady. Did you know this?
I did.
Martha Coolidge. And after I had watched it as well, there were parts of it where I was like, this was inherently sexist, and
Yeah,
there were a
right.
lot of moments like that, and that led me to think about, to try and analyze that a little bit. And I don't know, you brought that up as well, that main point, so how do you feel like that all
It's
goes
funny.
together?
It's funny. I think this is the difference between a millennial. Remember, we did
Yes.
decades recently. A millennial like yourself and someone like me. When I watch a movie like this, I identify the sexist parts, but I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I never apologize in the podcast, right? Okay. I crack up and I love it. I can identify it, But there's no way I don't cringe. Like I know millennials like to say, "Ugh, this movie's so dated," and they kind of cringe when they see certain things on screen. But when Chris Knight says right to that girl, the CIA daughter, he doesn't know it's the CIA guy's daughter, but he's like, "I'm sorry, have you ever seen a body like this before in your life?" And the old guy goes, "That just happens to be my daughter." He's like, "Oh, well then I guess you have." And he goes up to the girl in the pool party. He goes, "Don't eat that." Remember, she's about to eat a hamburger.
Yeah.
Remember Chris Knight at the pool party? Don't eat that. Didn't anybody tell you that eating that will give you extremely large breasts?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm too late. Cracks me up.
So,
but it's bad.
Product of the time.
Yeah, like if you saw that in a modern movie, what would people?
It wouldn't be
think of it?
funny
No,
either. That's the thing, because it wouldn't
shocking.
have like that's the beauty of an '80s movie.
Yeah.
It exists in a little time capsule. The hairstyles, the dress, the dialogue, the interactions, the pacing, the music, everything about it allows you to be like, yeah, product of its time, as Kyle likes to say. I'm gonna laugh at it. But you insert that exact line in the movie today. If Kevin Hart is saying that to Melissa McCarthy, why do I always use those two as my?
They're just they're the advertised ones. They're there.
Yeah.
They're in your face all the time.
You'd be like, ugh, you know? Even in Ghostbusters, when the headlines are like, "Oh, you sure the fart didn't come out from the front?" I'm like, boy, oh boy, that's really bad, you know? But in an 80s movie,
yeah, you can
probably
get away
crack
with
me the
it.
hell up.
Yeah. Anything you could get away with in an 80s
It's the
movie.
80s! Anyway, all right. Where were we? What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Can we talk about Jordan since we're talking about women? and
Yes,
all
I
that?
love
Yes.
Jordan.
She's amazing.
She is amazing.
What do you like about her, Lynn?
Well, okay, so I do have a little bit of beef with her because I kind of make her like a very stereotypical nerdy, and she's the like only girl. I mean, are there any other like women that you see? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like her, but
No.
but I love her because she's super eccentric and she's super awesome and she builds things. She's like an engineer. She's great.
And that's definitely something that is not present in a lot of 80s movies, is that a stronger female
That's
character.
true, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting that's getting highlighted here as well.
You want some Jordan quotes?
Yes.
When her sled crashes in the ice,
Yeah.
and Mitch is, "Are you okay?" No, not emotionally, but not terribly, but still, it should have gone much further, much faster. It's okay though. I think and she starts talking about the drag coefficient.
I
That's
love
like
that.
it's
Yeah,
so
Jordan.
brilliant. It's great.
You know, now I'm just, as we're talking about this, realizing that basically the Big Bang Theory only exists because of this movie. Have you ever watched that show?
I thought about that, and if you do research on, let's say, the internets,
Okay. I got that.
there were some chit chat for a moment of NBC doing a sitcom based on Real Genius. I think in like 2014.
But it already
Seriously.
exists.
And then I was like, and then it went no further. I guess development hell is a term that they use sometimes
Yes.
for projects that get not greenlit, but they don't go anywhere, right? Development
Right.
hell. And then I sat there and thought about it. I was like, well, thank God, because you know how I feel about rebooting and remaking shows. Like, thank God they've never touched this movie. Then I realized, no, it already exists, and it's called The Big Bang Theory, and I fucking hate that show. That show sucks.
Have you ever watched it, Lynn?
You know, not really. And everybody tells me I should, especially when they hear like I'm in science. They're like, "Oh, you should watch The Big Bang Theory." So I don't know, but should I? Apparently not. James.
I've seen it as well. I don't think it's great.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I mean, it's probably near the top of like network sitcoms, you know,
okay.
and then there's
It's highly
like-
watched, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then there's, you know, a disparity between network television and other television. But what is interesting about it is that there are very reminiscent. I mean, all of these characters exist nearly identically
Really?
in that space. So the character Jordan you're just talking about is there. And the other characters are kind of like Chris's character, except broken up into different pieces, so they can kind of analyze it a little bit more and look at the scene. But they've kind of updated it to the more like super nerd level that people are at now. So kind of the more accessible engineering and computer science crowd that's out there. And a ton of people like it, and a ton of people watch it. But yeah, I don't know.
I'll stick with Chris Knight 100 times out of 100 because
First comedy is way more original in Real Genius.
Yeah.
and there's no, again, getting back to the 80s and what you sort of could get away with back in the 80s. My understanding is in this sitcom, what the hell is it called again?
The Big Bang Theory.
Everybody's very much like a skinny, scrawny sissy boy. You're like, I know I'm being so, like, I don't know, whatever. But,
No, that is very much true.
you know, like
Yeah.
this sort of, they're very much like borderline Bay Area kind of hipstery goofballs, you know? And I hate that. I prefer Chris Knight. He's cool. Chris Knight's cool. Like when I was growing up, I wanted to be Chris Knight. There's no way I'd see Sheldon from this show and want to be him.
They're more like
for so many reasons.
The stereotype, like anti-sexual, like basement.
That's exactly what I'm getting at.
Basement dwelling,
That's
you know.
exactly what I'm getting at. Yep.
And this I think highlights a much more. What I took strongly away from this was. It was a very funny 80s comedy about, these goofy people and stuff, but different from something like Revenge of the Nerds or anything like that, in that it didn't just pigeonhole any one of them into a specific, caricature. They all were at college kind of exploring themselves and their personalities, and they did face some of those challenges, like Mitch's character and, a big change for him in his life at a very young age and everything. So they were tackling a lot more of those kind of personality development tracks as they went along through the movie, which is always more entertaining than watching endless caricatures for 9 seasons on network television.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say about Big Bang Theory, go onto YouTube, type in Big Bang Theory without laugh track.
Is it not funny?
It is like... It's stunningly bad. That's true of most shows that are set to a soundtrack. But run that little experiment, and you'll see just how unfunny it is. Like, it's terrible. All right, I have a question for Lynn. Getting back to Jordan. Let's talk more about Jordan
Let's
for a split second.
All right.
I got one word for you. 2 words, really.
Those couldn't be more different. Is it 2?
It's 2.
Okay, 2 words.
That sweater.
That sweater.
The sweater she makes for Mitch.
It's amazing.
Isn't that great?
It's amazing. It's so sweet.
It's like straight Michael Jackson Thriller or
remember the sweater.
Oh, how does he get in the sweater? Tell us.
How does she give him the sweater?
Oh,
is it when he's in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's taking a pee and she walks in and yeah.
Oh,
and she's totally
totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Lynn, give us your best Jordan impersonation, please. I'm sorry. You got to do it.
No.
Wow, you're really putting her on the spot.
I know. If you can't do it, I'll do it.
You do it. You have the quotes.
Okay, she bursts in, and one guy's on his way out, first of all, and this girl's, boom, like powers her way through, and she starts babbling about, I can't sleep. I had roommates, and I drove her nuts. I mean, really nuts. I don't know if it was my fault or anything, but I don't know, but she had to go to an institution, and she's like, I made this sweater for her. I used my brother for sizing. I hope it's okay. Are you still peeing? I haven't started yet. Is it because I'm here? I think so. Weird. Okay, anyway, I'm right down the hall and I never sleep. She says I never sleep like 8 times. Oh, it's the best. I drove her nuts, really nuts, and I don't know why. Woo. And then, quick little side note, because we're all in science here. What does Jordan bring to the pool party? Remember?
Oh, the rebreather. Yeah, the rebreather.
Nice, huh?
Yeah.
Whoa, she's way ahead of her time, right?
She really was.
There you go.
Excellent. All right.
That's some super science.
Yeah.
All right. Did we talk about what your favorite part of the movie was? Your favorite character
about
was
my
Chris.
my favorite
What's your favorite part of the movie? You've seen it. How many times have you seen this? You have it on VHS,
God.
right?
Oh, good God! I've seen it so many times, as you could tell. I don't have to reference my but I wrote them down anyway. Ooh, my favorite part is, well, I love every scene that Chris is in, but I do love the music montages, you know? And the first music montage is kind of like Mitch's music montage, right? And it's set to the song Fallin'. I'm falling, right? And if anybody's with me, if anybody's following my line of thought here, it's following Mitch as he's studying and working the lab and getting frustrated with Chris and getting teased by Kent and seeing Laszlo, like all these things are happening in the montage. And meanwhile, he's going to class, and the class is getting smaller and smaller. And what are all the students getting replaced by? Anybody remember?
Oh, yeah, the recorders.
The boomboxes.
The boomboxes, yeah, that was awesome.
And then finally at the end...
the recordings, because yes.
They're like, fuck it, I'm not coming to this lecture.
And then the teacher gets replaced by it, too, at the end,
The teacher puts one in.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Yep. It's the perfect way to end that montage.
And the fact that there's some really good timeless, school humor in this as well. With
Kyle,
just like... That exact thing playing out in like your professor emailing you and just being like, hey, I put the lectures online, so you can just get the PowerPoint there. I'm out this week, it's the exact same thing. It's just so great. I loved that.
And then the second music montage is, I give my all just to be number one. Remember that? And who's that montage for? It's not for Mitch anymore. It's for...
Is it for Chris?
Yeah. Because it's right after Mitch gave Chris his pep talk,
right.
and Chris is like, You make an interesting point, and he dedicates himself to studying and getting back in the lab and
He's
busting
in the
his
front row of class.
and he wears his buttoned up like hush, his fucking college shirt, and he's like staring at Kent and whatnot. So that's the music montage for Chris reasserting himself, proving that he was once on top, and if he wants to turn it on again, he'll turn it on. Mm-hmm. I'd give my all just to be number one.
Apparently you don't have to because you're not one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
But then another thing is one of my favorite parts of the movie. God damn it, if you don't remember this, I'll kill both of you right now.
Strong words.
During the second montage, there's a big group study going on, and one guy just freaks out.
Oh yeah, he loses his shit. I remember that.
Yeah, he goes, ah! Ah! And he just does that and gets in a bunch of people's faces, and everybody just sort of sits there and takes it, and then when he leaves, everybody's just kind of like, I'm like, readjust.
Not another one.
And somebody steals his seat, right? Isn't that the best?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As a little kid, I was like, does that happen to people?
Oh yeah, another classic example of the old weed out courses in college.
Right?
Did you ever take any of those?
I took a pre-med weed out and I got weeded
and
the
you
fuck out.
Yep, there you have it. Yeah, honors OChem.
Well, here's something.
That wasn't happening.
Here's something
Jesus.
No, you couldn't survive organic chemistry? Oh, man.
Not honors organic chemistry,
all right, well.
and not the professor that I had. No, it was this exact situation.
Did he give lectures on tape?
No, he didn't really give lectures at all, and I was the type of person that really needed somebody to kind of walk me through and give me some good explanation. I couldn't just read the textbook by myself and get away with that. Yeah. So all the kids that succeeded in that class were the Chris Knights that were there, and I dropped into the other OChem courses shortly after that.
Well, here's a theme I want to bring up since we're talking about weed out classes. A recurring mention or theme in this movie is the cracking of a student, right? Mm-hmm. How do we feel about that? They mentioned it with Laszlo. Laszlo cracked severely, as they say, right? And he ends up in a fucking like steam room, like at the damn Penguin or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Mitch is on the verge of cracking before Chris does that. Chris goes through his struggles, and that guy clear. So what do we think about that? You know, the whole thing that school can push you to that brink.
I think it's another great example of them kind of tackling a universal concept in this too, because that's one of the first moments where you're on your own. There's no real safety net, at that point, and you can start to fail on your own. Mm-hmm. And that pressure, especially from coursework, is one of the first, places where people start to realize that. And all those people, I was never one of the kids that was always thinking that I failed the test and then got a 100%, on it. But I knew all those people too, and just the desolation that they would feel coming out of things, and the horrible depression, and then ending up with A's and stuff. And that was intense for me because I had never really experienced that. And I think I was in a kind of comfortable place with failure by that point in other aspects of my life, where I was in the groove there and knew where my strengths and weaknesses were, so I was able to tackle that. But that universal theme, they definitely play up pretty good in there. Yeah,
absolutely. I can relate to that for sure. I was one of those.
Yeah.
On the verge of cracking, because you just have to be like perfect at everything. It's not a good way to be. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it highlights a commentary on the school system too, as well. And it was interesting that they didn't. There were a couple of ways that this movie could have gone that would have made it a lot darker and more emotional. And of course, we're in 1985 and we're playing up the levity here and everything, but especially about the military and the idea that the top students are being poached or expected to make crazy weapons to stay in the arms race. They could have played that up more, and they didn't. Which is good for the comedy movie's sake. Yeah. And they could have done more with the school system and talking about those types of things as well, because I think what they came to learn was that they, as a collaborative working together, were able to problem solve, and that was kind of the ideal situation, was for these smart people to work together and do creative things and talk to each other and collaborate and come up with amazing solutions to things, and that not necessarily that regimented school structure was going to work for everybody or even be the best way to teach the information that they were getting. But they didn't go that route either, in a big way.
They stuck to the 80s lightheartedness, Kyle, big time. I got some more examples. You want to hear some? You want to hear some classic examples of how this is 80s? I'll throw them out there. You guys react. How about that? All right, Jordan. Let's go back to Jordan.
Yes.
She asks Mitch, "You want to try out my rebreather?" All right, yeah. They go down to the edge of the pool, right? And Mitch clearly is attracted to her, right? He had sort of perked up in his seat when she walked in, if you remember. And when they're down by the pool's edge, Mitch starts to ask Jordan, "How come you're not, and he wants to say partying, but Jordan thinks he's going to say, like, getting it on with somebody. So here's some 80s stuff for you. Ready? How come you're not, and she goes, necking? Right? Necking, Kyle. Necking? But then she keeps going. She goes, necking? Question mark. I'm not gay!
What?
As it, the assumption is, the assumption here is, if I may speak on Jordan's behalf, Mitch wants to know why she's not getting on with somebody, and she says, I'm not kissing somebody. Are you accusing me of being gay, like to the point of being so disinterested in men that I come to parties with science equipment? So she's like offended by the assumption that he thinks she might be gay, and she just flat out says it. I'm not gay, you know? Oh, that's so 80s.
That's a deep one.
And then later on, I mean, I love this movie. I could fucking pick it apart like crazy. But yeah, she has to like defend herself. Like, hey man, I'm not gay. I'm at the party, and I might want to kiss a guy at some point, but it's not because I'm gay that I'm not doing it. That's what she's saying.
I don't think I ever fully understood that line.
I don't think I did either.
I was just like, why did she say that? I don't get it. Whatever, moving on. Yeah.
Yes.
Because she's probably faced that accusation before in her life, right? Like, how come you never show any interesting guys?
Because she's more interested in like science and her.
So she's probably had to answer that question many times. Like, Jesus Christ, for the millionth time, I'm not gay. I'm just not kissing a guy in this moment. I just want to try my rebreather.
A little commentary there. Interesting.
But there you go. All right, so that's 80s. But then shortly after that, who walks in and ruins the party? Do you remember?
Well, Jerry eventually, right?
And who's
Kent
by
rats him out.
Exactly. Who's by his side? Kent, right?
His little bitch.
His little bitch.
Indeed.
Right. And in very classic 80s fashion, the party gets interrupted by like the music scratch, right? And he yells at Mitch, and he makes him look like a fool in front of everybody. But then on his way out, one of the students asks Dr. Hathaway, "What? Are you wearing makeup?" And Dr. Hathaway just gives him like a look, right? The girl that is by that student's side does this, and I'm waving my hand side to side. What does that gesture mean? Yeah. You guys don't know?
Is this another gay reference you're talking about?
You didn't do that, girl? Oh, I'm so old.
It didn't mean that.
Yeah, like he's kind of gay.
Oh, no, I never did that.
You never did that?
No.
When I was growing up,
that streets of Coney Island, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That hand gesture means, you're kind of like a little fruity.
Oh, wow.
Wow, and they were on the West Coast. Look at that.
All right.
We gotta get ready to close it out here.
Oh, we gotta close it? Are you kidding me?
You gotta run us down a list of your favorite quotes.
Oh shit! No, let me give you two more 80s ones.
Okay.
Real quick. When that like genius groupie lady, Sherry Nugel, remember the blonde with the big glasses that like?
Oh yeah. She wants to date all the top 10 geniuses.
Yeah. When she's in Mitch's room waiting for him, remember that? Mitch flicks on the lights and boom, a woman is waiting for him in his room. She goes, "I've been waiting 3 years for this." 3 years? Mitch is still 15. So this woman has had Mitch on her radar to try to bang him since he was 12.
Okay, that's disturbing.
Weird.
Yeah.
I've been waiting 3 years for this. Mitch goes, "For what?" "For the chance to do this." "To do what?" "This." And she starts kissing him. She's had her eye on it. First of all, she's kissing a 15-year-old,
I did
right?
not pay attention to that.
Yeah,
Groupie.
No, I missed that one too.
She's
I think
a
my brain
groupie.
blocked that out.
She's a groupie.
James has seen this 100,000 times. So.
She's a fucking groupie in the movie for no reason. What is her character arc is to be like creepy and stalk geniuses and then end up with Laszlo at the end.
There's an example.
But he's got everything. She's like she ends up with everything she could ever need in life.
This is it. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for this for 30. So I think she ups it to like 12 years or something like that at that point. Oh, I've been waiting for Laszlo, right?
James has reverted to speaking in quotes now.
Yeah. Oh, my whole language should be reduced down to real genius quotes. All right, and then when Mitch confesses that Sherry Nugel was waiting in his room for her, he tells Jordan, right? He confesses to Jordan, "There was a woman in my room, and she wanted to," and here's an 80s quote, Jordan goes, "Jump you?"
Jump you.
Necking and
Necking
jumping.
and jumping.
What does jump you mean? It means to take advantage of.
Oh, yeah.
Bang you, right?
There you go. And bang,
Is that
you're
the modern
right.
version of
That
Well,
is-
you know, bang.
Apparently,
Stop.
those are the synonyms.
All right, what do you want me to
We've
do
learned
now?
something
What do you want me to do
today.
now? Bang out some
One of my
quotes?
favorite things
All right.
about the movie and looking at these movies specifically is that they used a lot of practical effects. And it leads you right into the big finale of the movie with huge popcorn house explosion and everything. But there's something so classic, especially not having the nostalgia of this movie, to just watching a movie like this and seeing it on screen and knowing that it's happening like live and that somewhere out there they blew up a house with popcorn. And that was so cool to me. I don't know, I love watching old movies like this where they use like the practical effects and it's not all the CG stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Was that a big... You didn't see it in the theaters, but was that a big hit when you watched it?
Well, yeah, of course. When I watched it, there was no such thing as special effects. The house was bursting right in front of me. It's undeniable. It's a house being like burst at the seams, right?
Would you say that's probably the most iconic scene from the film that lives on?
Yeah, it's such a satisfying 80s climax, is it not?
Oh, yeah.
Like
absolutely.
music kicks in, people are smiling and celebrating. There's one clear villain that's been thwarted.
And then Kent comes sliding out on a pile of popcorn. Amazing.
Yes, there it is.
Remember what Kent says when he goes into the house and everyone's like, Kent, don't go in the house, right? He goes in there and he's like poking and prodding at the big microwave popcorn bag, right? And eventually he goes, okay, God, let me have it, right?
Perfect time.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, but here, all right,
Run him down.
Here's another favorite moment. Speaking of Kent,
Yes.
when God talks to Kent,
That's the best.
That was a good
I
one.
love that.
isn't that so funny how they go back and forth between Mitch and the Kent, right? Here's some Kent, wake up, Kent, and Kent bangs his head against the keyboard. Ow! I'm talking to you, Kent. I said I'm talking to you. And then Kent is like, suspicious. He's checking his glasses. Who is this? This is Jesus, Kent. And you've been a very naughty boy, right? And then he lectures him on, like, let's find out with laser, blah, blah. I want you to think about what you've done, Kent. And from now on, stop playing with yourself, right? It is God, right?
It is. Indeed.
Oh, I love it. Guys, I have so many quotes, but all right, let's do closing. Maybe we'll have to do a bonus episode with Leah.
It sounds like it. Yeah, you should actually.
A quote-a-thon,
All right,
yes.
all right.
All right, well, we grade the movies at the end, so we're going to give a retro grade to Real Genius, and we'll start with James. A through F, James. Classic grading scale.
Oh man,
What would you give
well, here's
it?
what I'm gonna do.
And you can give it an A+ if you feel it's worthy.
Here's what I'm gonna do.
Of course.
I'm gonna do it. Real Genius in my grading scheme has to operate in a vacuum. I can't hold it up against Moonlight, right, or Rocky,
Mm-hmm.
and so. Just as James's personal scale, not the scale that I would love to impose on the world and have my opinion be like
sure, yeah, the James
rule
scale.
of land.
Yeah.
This gets an A. I love this
An A?
movie.
All right.
Yep.
Solid.
But I've qualified it a little bit,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
All right.
Lynn, what do you think?
For me, this movie gets an AB
Ooh.
for awesomely bad.
Oh, how creative!
A to B, depending on the seed. I'll give it overall, because I have to be critical, of course, of all the movie type things, a B-, but an extremely enjoyable B-. There you have it.
Depraved. What about when we caught you naked with that bowl of Jello? I was hot and I was hungry, right?
See, that's the A.
I have so many
And
quotes.
the B.
I have so many quotes, Kyle. I've written here that Chris Knight, Val Kilmer as Chris Knight, is Iron Man before Robert Downey Jr.
Ooh,
Oh, wow.
there you go.
They, like the
Maybe
the
he
super,
is Iron Man.
super genius yet super sexist, womanizing. Can play.
You extrapolate. I don't know.
Can play every game according to his own rules. He, dances to the beat of his own drum. Marches. I fucked that.
Yeah,
Kid.
you did. That's okay.
Marches
that
to the
works.
beat
You
of his
can
own
dance.
drum. Right.
You can dance. Everybody, look at your pants.
It's like Rocky said. You want to dance? You want to go to the bank? You got to dance with. Oh,
You
fuck,
can
I'm
dance if you want to. And leave your
Secret
friends.
Let
Let me find one more. Let me find
End
one
us
more
on a quote. Your favorite quote.
Okay,
Pressure's
okay.
on.
Oh my God! Another funny quote.
Drum roll.
Anticipation.
Oh, here we go. Oh my God! Wait a minute.
You killed the drum roll.
I know I fucked it up.
You blew it.
Okay, last one I'll go out on. It's not my favorite. I already said my favorite, and everybody feel free to use it. Someone says, "What?" You're like,
"Oh yes."
Which word didn't you understand?
That is a good one.
But if you remember when Jerry Hathaway snaps at that guy, remember he's like, "Jerry, they told me they want the laser at the end of the month. Now you listen to me, you groveling bug. I have exams. I am doing everything I can, so get off my back." A total flip out, right? A total flip out, just dropped in the movie to show you how shit's getting, things are escalating.
That's
and
a good.
The pressure is on.
That's a good summation of the film too, with everything that's going, with all the insanity surrounding it. They're in school and they have exams.
Oh, it's so great.
The ridiculousness.
Yeah, he snaps at the CIA guy.
It's good.
I got so much more I can talk about, but let's.
We shall again. But with that, we're out of time. Lynn, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks again for having me. This is a blast.
Yes!
Yay! We'll have you come back in and talk about other stuff sometime.
Do it.
Some other maybe if you watch The Birds.
Oh, yeah.
We can talk about that.
It's on my list.
I'll keep pitching it. You'll love it. If you're a Tom Hanks fan, you'll love it. Classic 80s. Loud on the Set with Kyle and James, and today Lynn. Thank you all for listening. You can find us on YouTube and iTunes. Anywhere you find podcasts, we're there. Let us know what you thought of Real Genius. loudontheset@gmail.com. Give us your nostalgia memories. Let us know if it rings true to your college experience as well.
We're guaranteed to get something from Kev.
Oh, I hope so. Absolutely. If you haven't seen Real Genius, I think we'd all recommend it here.
For sure.
Thumbs up, for sure. So go out and see it, and have a wonderful time.
See you later.
And cut.